Everybody, welcome back to Lettermen Row. I am Austin Ward, joined as I am every single week by Zach Boren for a defensive breakdown on BuckIQ. Zach, the Buckeyes are the four-time defending Big Ten champions, and to do it this time, the defense had to play probably their best game in a long time.
They did. You've seen over the past couple of years that the offense kind of built out the defense in the Big Ten championship game. But this time around, man, the defense bowed their necks. The Silver Bullets were running around, flying to the football. Granted, the first couple series, there was, maybe Northwestern was getting more yardage than they wanted, but still, it's a Big Ten championship game. They calmed down. They came together. They put together a better game plan after what Northwestern was giving them from the jump with that wildcat look and whatnot. And, man, today they came around and started flying to the football and kind of took the game into their hands.
It's interesting how it worked out because the College Football Playoff Selection Committee started this process, and they said, well, we know Ohio State can score points. We have some concerns about the defense. And then in their last opportunity, those Silver Bullets that you mentioned, they allowed one touchdown to the number 14 ranked team in the country and 300 yards of total offense in that game, big-time interceptions, fumble recovery, every stop they can need, and a second-half shutout. So if you're making a case to go play Clemson in the Sugar Bowl, the defense is the one that made that closing argument.
No doubt, and especially going against this Clemson offense where this is, where Clemson – this is what they're known for, right? Travis Etienne, Trevor Lawrence. Like, this is what Clemson is built on, and they have been built on the past couple of years. So for the defense to have that kind of game, to have that confidence, that swagger back that you definitely saw in the second half, right, when they were running around to the football, getting some turnovers, with Proctor, with Hilliard, with the fumble recovery, right? Like, it was just – you saw a completely different team. And once the defense kind of had that swagger back and they knew, hey, we need to bail the offense out. We're going to take this game into our own hands. Man, that defense was flying around to the football. And I guarantee you that Clemson offense and that Clemson team does not want to see that Ohio State defense that was playing out there on Saturday.
All right, one name in there in particular that jumped out, Justin Hilliard. Ohio State was without Baron Browning, so they needed somebody to step up at linebacker. And this guy, his career obviously didn't work out the way he initially intended. He's been here for 6 years. But if he spent 6 years building for that kind of performance, he was truly remarkable. He's a little overshadowed, I think, by Trey Sermon with the MVP awards. There should have been a defensive MVP, and if there was, Justin Hilliard would have got it.
There should have been, and you've seen Justin Hilliard, especially over the last 2 years, ball out in some big-time games. He had a huge game against Penn State last year, had a huge game against Wisconsin last year. Like, those big-time games is when he kind of stands up and says, hey, I'm here and I'm going to make some plays, and you kind of always leave those games like, where has he been? Like, why more, But, man, he came out when the defense needed someone to step up, especially early on that game. He stepped up and made some plays, some huge plays, and he was running around the football, really set the tone. His leadership that you could see out there, granted, with him being here 6 years, he's obviously spent a lot of time in the program, and a lot of guys look up to him. I just hope he comes back and says, hey, this was a free year. I'm coming back for you. I hope he does.
I'm not sure how willing he's going to be to go for round number 7, but he's at least got a college football playoff and another shot at Clemson coming up. Zach going to break down what he did in the Big Ten title win over Northwestern right now. Let's roll tape. All right, Zach, I have to admit that when I'm sitting in the press box in Lucas Oil Stadium, I looked over to that side of the field on Saturday afternoon, and I thought, I don't know how much I like that matchup for Ohio State with Justin Hilliard basically playing an isolated corner coverage role. I bet that's where the football's going, and he absolutely answered the challenge.
He did answer the challenge. Man, I guarantee if you would ask Justin Hilliard in his Ohio State career, if he ever would imagine himself lining up at corner, he would have said no. But here he is lining up at corner, against the tight end for Northwestern. When he made this play, I was like, oh my gosh, Baron Browning must have came out at halftime and defeated COVID protocols through the Big Ten at halftime. But, man, what an athletic play. And, everyone talks about the injury bug that Justin Hilliard's had. This is a highly touted 5-star kid, came out of Cincinnati. The dude can still play. The dude is still athletic. He can, do so many different things. And here is just showing his versatility and going up, high pointing a ball, playing corner. This was a huge turning point. Ohio State's down 10-6. The offense kind of stalling out. Next thing you know, Northwestern gets the ball. If they score right here, it could have been bad news for the Buckeyes. But Justin Hilliard goes up, makes a huge play, and this is where the defense kind of said, hey, we're taking this game over into our own hands, and we're going to get some turnovers, and we're changing the path of this game.
Pretty incredible play. He's even getting his face mask pulled from behind here to finish that catch. I mean, even if you're a wide receiver, you'd feel really good about executing that in the end zone. That really turned the game around. But Justin Hilliard was not done. He was absolutely everywhere in the second half and just running down plays. And it's a reminder of how much the depth has changed.
Yep.
Justin Hilliard being part of that. Like Baron Brenning's out, and this guy, Hilliard steps in without missing a beat.
I know. I completely agree with you, and I love what he does right here, right? I mean, this is a guy who's not playing every snap. This is a guy who, his snaps, especially against a team like Northwestern, is limited. They bring him in against Wisconsin, against those heavier teams, right? And they, kind of let him play as that fourth linebacker, so to speak. But right here, you see his speed. He is taking great footwork. He's reading and reacting. He gets around one block, gets around the other. Man, that's just a perfect play. That's a tackle for loss, running the dude down to the sideline. Like, this is a tough play. A lot of people, say, hey, whatever, he's doing his job. This is a tough play to make with Polars out front, a lead blocker out front. He avoided 2 blocks and still makes play. If he doesn't make the play right here, as you can see, Sevyn Banks kind of takes the inside right there. If that guy gets the corner, it could have been a long touchdown run right here. But still, Justin Hilliard playing downhill, reading correctly, makes a great play.
And he did that throughout this whole game. When I was watching these clips, I was just thinking Zach Boren read and react in my mind, because right here, he makes up his mind, and boom, he's gone.
Listen, when I was watching this play, I jumped up out of my seat and was hooting and hollering, because this is still 10-6. Offense is still faltering a little bit, right? Northwestern was driving the ball right here. And look at this. They say, hey, razzle-dazzle, we can't do anything. We're going to do a reverse, try and get the Bucks right here, try and make a big play. Guess what? Justin Hilliard, reading and reacting, doesn't let the ball going away from him fool him, stays and does what he's supposed to do, holds his responsibility, fires here, ends up making a tackle for almost a 10-yard loss. And this is when Northwestern was kind of like, hey, we don't know what to do. And then this is when the Bucks took over the game. But this is an amazing play. Everything's going away from him right here, and you still see Justin Hilliard. Look at him. He's still going to the left. He's down here on the bottom. The ball is going away, and he is reading everything that he sees and looking at his keys, and still goes away from the ball knowing that, hey, what I'm seeing, the ball's going to come back to me. He does, gets around the block, shoots right here, quick. Man, what a play. Great open field tackle. Justin Hilliard, man, welcome to the ball game.
Yeah, he was never fooled there. It was pretty remarkable. Here's one that people aren't going to forget either. It wasn't even the best defended play of the night for Ohio State, but again, the awareness and a couple guys who hit pretty hard.
Yeah, it's actually a little bit of a miscue right here, because you see Josh Proctor and Justin Hilliard going filling the same gap on the outside, and you see Justin Hilliard have to come back on the inside. You see them both right here, and so quarterback's obviously keeping it up. They're both going after this kind of jet sweep type motion. Justin Hilliard sees it, reacts, comes back, and here's what I love about this play, right, is an offensive lineman's there, and he gets this fumble, this caused fumble, because he drills this lineman back into the quarterback. This is getting low. Look at this. Throws his forearm and his shoulder right into the offensive lineman. Bam, drives him back. Look at this. Causes the fumble right there. And it's the offensive lineman's arm that causes the fumble. Look at that. He is driving a 330-pound lineman back using power. Man, that's explosive. That's Big Ten linebacker football right there.
Doesn't try and do anything fancy, scooping up the fumble either. Just jumps right on top of it. We've seen how quickly that can go wrong if you try and do something, beyond and crazy and think you got to score. The Buckeyes just needed the ball back. Justin Hilliard got him that. That's pretty much how they teach it too. I know there's not a lot of scoop and score drills. It's a lot of jiving on a football for linebackers.
No doubt it is. Listen, as linebackers, that's right. They don't want to scoop and score. Trust me. I mean, if it's open, go for it. But, man, that ball better be pretty quietly sitting on the ground for you to scoop and score.
All right, then here, this was one of the key drives in the end, the fourth quarter, to put it away. Ohio State just needed to bow their necks up, and Justin Hilliard filling against the run. And, boy, Haskell Garrett and Tommy Togiai, those guys are pretty good too.
You hit the nail on the head right here. This is when they really need to bow their necks. 16-10, Northwestern's got the ball. It's like, hey, defense. They score. They're going ahead. We got to make a stop right here. This series, you saw Justin Hilliard step up. You saw Haskell Garrett. You saw Tommy step up. These boys dominated the front and made some big-time plays. And you see this right here. Justin Hilliard seeing it, coming downhill. Man, that's just firing exactly what you're seeing with your eyes, playing football, playing linebacker with everything, with your keys. Look at that. He's taking on the outside shoulder, the running back, knowing that Haskell Garrett's on his inside. Like, that's just perfect linebacker play. You're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing, taking the correct angles, having the correct responsibilities. I mean, this is huge. This is how a linebacker is supposed to play. 5 yards off the ball, makes the play at the line of scrimmage, downhill, coming with an attitude, lowering his pads. This is perfect.
If there was a big play to be made on Saturday to win a Big Ten title, Justin Hilliard seemed to be around to do it. Silver Bullets, they got it done, Zach. Ohio State's 4-time Big Ten defending champions. They'll head to the Sugar Bowl and play Clemson. We've got a lot more stuff probably to talk about and break down over the next 10, 11 days. I know you'll be ready for it.
I cannot wait to break down this Clemson game. Man, if there is one team I despise more than the team up north, it might be Clemson. And, man, those guys are salivating knowing that they got this rematch booked for January 1st. I know the defense is ready to take on Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne and really shut them up because, let's be honest, Trevor Lawrence especially plays with a little attitude on the field that is a little prima donna. Best type of attitude, and you know these guys are going to be coming after him all game long, especially after the way Dabo Swinney's been acting. They talk about that. That's going to be discussed. That Silver Bullet's going to come out salivating, ready to put their silver helmets right on Trevor Lawrence.
I know you'll be ready for January 1st. We will have full coverage all the way up to it at LettermenRow.com. For Zach, I am Austin Ward. This has been BuckIQ. We will see you next time.